Hello, hi, and welcome. Now, this trend goes against everything that we have come to believe about motherhood, or does it? It's an open-ended one, and we'll see maybe if it's resolved by the end of this. I mean, if you look at the videos I'm about to play, you'll realize that there are varying factors that contribute to why women choose, mothers to be specific, choose to give up custody of their children. So that's what this video is about, is looking at why there seems to be a rising trend in mothers who are giving up full custody of children, whether it happens voluntarily or involuntarily. Yeah, it's something that is just a bit mind boggling, or maybe that's just me projecting my nonsense on it. And I think in these situations it's really painful, especially when kids are in the middle. The rejection, whether it is rejection, and in cases where it's rejection by any parent, being it a mom or a dad, we know causes a lifetime of problems, a lifetime of feeling unwanted, a lifetime of trauma, and we would wish that it is avoided by any circumstances. I think it I'm interested in it because it's always been the other way around, where the dad loses, or in most cases it's the other way around, where the father is the one who loses custody of their children, or willfully gives up custody of their children to the mother, for whatever reasons, right? So when it happens the other way around, I think we raise a bit of an eyebrow, and we want to find out what the reasons are, especially in cases where the other parent is not available to take over, or at least even another family member, be it a grandmother, be it an aunt, an uncle, right? These kids end up in the system, and we know what happens when kids end up when the government gets involved and these kids end up in the system. It hardly ever fares well for the kids, right? They stay there for the longest time. If they ended up being housed or whatever, there's abuse, the suffering just continues. So I think the question, and why it raises a lot of question, is it doesn't look like mothers that are intentionally and willfully putting their children in this situation when they know what is likely to happen. And I think also it's what breaks my heart, the situations that I think a bit more heartbreaking, is in situations where it's not voluntary. It's not the mother volunteering to do it. They're actually fighting, but sometimes it's carelessness in handling the case by the legal representatives, or mistakes that they make in their representation of their clients, that lead to these mothers losing precious time with their children, right? And the children obviously suffer the most in this situation. So we're about to get into the videos and see what leads to this. What are some of the reasons why some of these mothers do it, right? Some of them are telling the stories themselves, some of them are recounting stories that they've heard. But anyway, let's get into it. In the comments below, please do get involved. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about, are you a mom who's had to give up custody of your children? Why did you do it? Were you a child of a mother who gave up custody of you, and how was that experience? Let's keep that conversation going in the comments below. I really would love to hear from you. Anyway, let's jump straight into the videos. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so did y'all see the mother that dropped her two children off at foster care? Well, she tried to drop her children off at the fire station. Her son, I believe, was 11, and then her daughter, I believe, was 3 years old. And she said she was tired. She can't do it. The father didn't want to help. So the eldest one, I saw a clip from one of her lives. She said that his father passed away, but her baby girl, the father just, she was like, oh, I want to level my life up. She says she's going to school and she's working on 2 degrees and she's working. But then I saw people saying that she was chasing behind a rapper. My whole thing is, my opinion might be unpopular, right? I am never one for putting kids in the system, because the system does not do the right thing all the time. A lot of children are misused and abused while in foster care. Let's just start there. 2, why does she have more than one kid if she's having such a hard time? You think she didn't know that she wasn't able to do it when she had her first kid? And this is my thing, right? I don't have children. I feel like women need to take accountability when it comes to having more than one child and struggling. Why would you bring multiple kids into this world if you are struggling with one? She didn't just start struggling when she had her 3-year-old. She said she didn't even want to be a mother. She said, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. Anybody could take them. Then she was contradicting herself, saying, oh, well, I got to know you if you want to force them. Ma'am, when you send your children to CPS, you don't know where they're going to end up. And I just pray for those babies. I pray that God covers those babies, because the 11-year-old is old enough to know what's going on, and he's going to absolutely resent his mother. And once again, I pray nothing bad happens to them. But don't have children, one, if you really don't want to be a mother, especially not to keep a man. Always be prepared to sign up to be a single mother, even if you're married, because there's married single mothers out there. That's why if I ever have a kid, it will solely be because I actually want to be a mother. It will never be because of a man. Point blank, period. It don't matter if you married or whatever y'all just get a ring. That does not exempt you from possibly having to go at it alone. 2, do not take your stupid head ass and have more than one if you're struggling already. I don't respect it. Why do women have multiple kids if they can't even hardly handle one? I don't respect that. If you don't want to be a mother, why on God's green earth would you have multiple kids? That is very, very selfish. It's very selfish to have kids, period, knowing that that's not something that you really want to do. Check yourself, okay? And I just pray for those babies, because the type of, once again, neglect and abuse that kids experience, because those kids grow up to be adults and we hear them talk about the horror stories that they experience being in child protective care. So we just got to pray for the kids, and hopefully she gets her mind right and go back and get her babies. And I hope it's not for no nigga.
I lost custody of my children 18 months ago, and I worry. I worry every day. I worry, do my children feel loved? I worry, do my children have a mother figure in their lives who can look at them and know when something's wrong and know what's wrong, and who can instinctively know what to do to fix it? I worry if they're safe. I worry if they're happy. I worry if they're comfortable. I worry if they like their clothes. I worry if their shoes fit right. I worry if they have friends. I worry if they're able to play outside and speak up and do things they enjoy. I worry if they get to eat their favorite foods and have their favorite snacks. I worry if they get to see their other siblings. I worry if they're worrying about me. I worry if they know how loved they are and how unique they are and how special they are. And I worry if they wonder, or if they know how glad I am that they're here on this earth and that they're my child and a part of my family. I worry about countless things pertaining to each child every day. I'm a mom, and I don't get updates. I haven't seen my kids or heard anything about them or got to talk to them and communicate with them in 18 months. And so I'm a mom, and I worry.
So y'all know the lady, Amora Lex, who dropped her kids off at CPS on Facebook Live? Well, I just watched her interview, and she's explaining a little bit more why she did what she did. So Amora Lex, she said she is saying nothing's wrong with her. She was just tired, and she needs a break because she doesn't have any help from her children's father. She has 5 kids. She goes to 2 colleges. She works 2 jobs. She does get food stamps and child care from government assistance. Unfortunately, the child care, they took her children off the roster, which resulted her in losing both her 2 jobs that she's working because she didn't have child care. She said she's not lazy. She does music and she models. And her music career actually starting to progress. And that's how she was able to put the down payment on the home she lives in. She's been a mom since she was 15. Like I said, she has 5 children, multiple fathers. I think 4. I'm not sure. I've seen that somewhere, but I'm not sure if it's 4 fathers. But definitely 5 children. She said her oldest 2 came from Grape. And she's been crying out for years for help. And the children's fathers and their families have not came to do anything for her. And she's tired. Now, the question is that after she dropped her kids off at CPS, she wrote some things on Facebook like, "Oh, we outside today and what we doing today," whatever, about, basically being free. And she said, no, she didn't go shake her ass. And even if she did, she's grown. And then she said, I quote, "What if I'm out They're shaking my ass because I can't deal with the fucking fact I just gave my only lifeline away. I gave my only backbone away. So basically saying that if she is out there shaking her ass, it's for her kids to make money. She said she has been reached out to by different artists and also Mona Scott. Mona Scott is the executive producer of Love and Hip Hop. She says she does have businesses and clothing lines. So if you are to donate to her GoFundMe, or not GoFundMe, or Cash App, whatever, it would be going to her children. Now, I don't got no kids. I ain't got no opinion like that. I ain't got no kids. I ain't got to go as hard. I don't understand. So I'm going to leave my 2 cents out of it. But I think the issue is her putting this on the internet. When you put everything on the internet, people going to have their opinion. Now, like I said, I ain't got no kids, so I don't really have an opinion on this one. But my opinion is the internet. There's, just like the teacher. I ain't even going to go into that too much. But the teacher, the issue is y'all live for the internet. Now, there's going to be people like me that's going to have, they're going to report it because you put it on here. Now, I ain't going to do that. But when you put everything on the internet, she could have did this and we didn't have to know. But you put it on the internet and you go to interviews because you have to defend yourself because you put it on the internet. That's all I got to say about it. But her decision that she made, I don't know. I don't understand. Anyway, y'all go ahead. What's y'all opinion?
I lost custody of my son because a judge decided that being in the military and being a military family was too unstable for my son. I have been my son's primary caregiver since birth, and any of you who have ever applied for a move away request know that the stability is the stability of the relationship with the primary parent, not the stability of location. And unfortunately, we just got a judge who was new to family law, had only been a judge for 2 years and never spent any time in family law as an attorney. And today is day 9 of not talking to my son because Dad won't let us talk to each other, even though it's in the court order. And Dad doesn't spend any time with our son, and since he's had custody of him for the last 9 days, he has not spent more than an hour with him a day, and the rest of the time he's been with other family members or friends, and while I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I am trying like hell to figure things out with my attorney, but attorneys are incredibly expensive. So if enough of you watch this video.
I lost physical custody of my son after raising him for 11 years as a single mother after his dad abandoned me while I was pregnant. He harassed me so bad because I wouldn't have an abortion, to where I basically threatened to miscarry and was on bed rest for 5 months. He told me he wanted nothing to do with this baby and to never contact him at any point. Of course, he came around and he did get involved a little. He would come to town every maybe 3 months or so, and he would give me a small contribution towards child support. We didn't have any court-ordered agreements or any child support in place. We were kind of just coming up with a mutual agreement and playing it by ear. He did eventually get married to someone else in the military, and they had a child as well. After he got married, apparently he started creating paper trails, keeping records of every flight, visitation, everything he's ever bought him, everything he's ever participated in. When my son was about 7, he did increase his involvement, participating in testings because my son does have autism, and parent-teacher conferences and meetings. At this point, I'm just happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're taking the initiative to co-parent and be involved, and I'm thinking that you're just trying to help. Little did I know he was basically positioning himself to one day take me to custody and take custody of my son. I was told that no judge would ever take a kid from his mother and move a child 13 hours away and give him to his dad, who's not even been involved his entire life. I was years behind the plot. He had been keeping records of every flight, every visitation, everything he has ever done for my son, his entire life. And when I say his entire life, I mean from the time he was about 2 or 3 until the present time. This man showed up to court every time with his military outfit on, lying under oath with his right hand to God, like it was nothing. It came so natural. Painting me out to be a poor single mother, and when they asked him why he waited 11 years to file for custody, he said he was trying to give me time to get my act together. My son is well taken care of, always dressed, hair always styled, fresh haircut, clothes galore, shoes galore, well fed, no abuse, no neglect, no CPS cases, no missing days of school, A's and B's, clock it. So what exactly could he say and do to get himself physical custody and put me on child support. It's literally so much, y'all. I'm gonna have to come back and I'm gonna have to make a part 2.
This last video actually reminds me of a situation that a personal friend of mine went through, something that was just painful and incredibly, and like, yeah, it almost took her out, to be quite honest. She got married and had children. The marriage was terrible. She ended up deciding, I can't live like this, to the point it was so painful in the home that it ended up being the children telling their fathers to stop being mean to mommy. It was that type of situation. It got to a point where she decided, listen, and she wasn't working. She had never worked, right? So she didn't have the resources to just get herself and her children out of that situation. She ended up just deciding to leave by herself, go live with her sister, leave the kids with the father, because he was the one with the financial means to take care of the children. I don't know about the emotional and mental capacity, or rather competency, to be quite specific, but that's a story for another day. Fast forward, where it broke my heart is when they went to the courts. This man, her husband, ended up bribing her lawyer, my friend's lawyer, to throw the case, to give bad advice and bad representation so that he could end up having full custody of the children, because he did not want that woman to touch even a cent of his money. So these stories are real. Right? These stories are very real. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, but it happens. Sometimes it's not a oops, sometimes it's not a I'm done, I need a break. It's actual situations that are painful, and the kids suffer the most. Anyway, let's continue and watch these videos.
So my baby daddy took the kids away legally. My baby daddy wants me to pay child support to him, and he's gonna chase me down for it. My baby daddy tried to get me jumped. My baby daddy apparently got somebody role playing, trying to role play me. And so much has happened since. And my poor son is struggling in his transition, and he says that he hates being black. And so much more. So this is gonna be a multiple part series, but I just thought those were the highlights that first came to mind. I wish my life was normal. Like, nothing happens normally. It's not like my baby daddy came with a fancy lawyer or anything like that. No, it's how trash my lawyer was. So how did I lose? So I made a Google Drive and I organized every piece of evidence, from the financial to the abuse, both physical and emotional. And I just organized so much. Then also how he's a shitty dad. I had all these different examples. Cool. So he was supposed to be prepping me beforehand. And the entire time that he could have been talking to me, prepping me, he was kikiing and laughing with my baby daddy about his career. That's unprofessional, unethical, and again, basis for a bar complaint as a victim of domestic violence, and it's actually on paper. 30 seconds before we get called to go inside, this lawyer goes, you know, things end like that sometimes. Hopefully the relationship was good. Can y'all envision, like, my panic when that man said that? Like, what do you mean? Like, I gave you a bunch of documents. I'm like, it was an abusive relationship. He's like, I didn't know that. Fuck you mean you didn't know that? Fast forward to the trial itself. As you can imagine, none of my evidence was submitted. 75% of the trial was about my baby daddy's career, which I had given him enough financial proof. He didn't need to dwell on it that much. And I knew I was fucked when he was like, this isn't about child custody, it's about child support. Even the judge looked at him. And honestly, I could not control my body language. I'm definitely the type of person that if I stay quiet, my body does it, and it's just like... So you know how a lawyer's supposed to prep you, right? No idea his line of questioning. No idea. So when he asked me questions like, is he a good dad? Baby, I'm autistic. I cannot do this shit on the spot. I'm going to tell you the truth. And no, I can't read the room. I'm not a read the room type of bitch. That's ableism. Like, come on, bitch. How was I supposed to know I was supposed to say he's a good dad? I don't know the game plan. I just know the truth. Then I can't even speak. And he also doesn't counter any of the things that my baby daddy says, even though I write in the notes to him. For example, the judge asked valid questions, and I see how I looked given the lack of information. So it made me look money hungry. Little does she know that I was literally left in negatives. And how was I going to pay it? I had to do a lot of things. I've been selling goods, all these things, and I have a rent that I can't afford. I have medical bills from Cade's pregnancy that this man won't even pay for. So he did not bring up anything pertinent that I literally had proof of. Like, I literally have proof that this man is an ecstasy addict. Like, nothing. The conditions don't, nothing. Okay. Fast forward. Why do the kids get taken away? 3 factors, according to the judge. 1, distance. I am far from Cairo school, even though I work 5 minutes the street away from his school, but whatever. My transportation issues. At that moment, my car wasn't fixed. It's fixed now, y'all. And then this one is gonna be my favorite one, just because it's so ironic. But again, she didn't have the information. She believed that he would foster a better relationship. She admitted she didn't have much to lean on, and this was a difficult choice. However, based off of my tone, my matter-of-fact tone, and the fact that I couldn't even bring myself to say that he was a good parent, even though my lawyer was probing me, So yeah, that happened. Now this is what happened at the hearing. Now tune in for part 2 about the aftermath.
I ended up letting my boys go and stay with their dads because their dads were in a more stable position than I was. My sister and my parents were also in Tamworth. So I knew that my children were really supported by growing up with families and lifestyles that were really going to enrich them. And I really believe it was because I didn't selfishly try and hang on to them and have this kind of, I'm going to raise my kids alone in Sydney kind of mentality and just struggle and be the struggling single mum that really scarred my kids, nothing to my name 5-6 years ago. So I just didn't want that for my children. I wanted them to go and have support from family members and child.
It's going to sound crazy, but I don't want my children back. It's not because I don't love them. I love them so much. I love them wholeheartedly. I love them beyond comprehension. But I don't want my children back. And I feel like I had to come over here because you guys are so sweet. And my DMs and my comments giving me reassurance that, oh, they're going to come back. They're going to, everything's going to work out and stuff like that. And I believe you. Like, everything is going to work out. However, I don't want them children back. And it's not because I don't want to take care of them or anything like that. I love taking care of them. I love raising them. But I don't want them back for another set of reasons. One, I don't have a support system. I have been raising these children with no support system. And when I say no support system, I'm not even joking. I don't have any emergency contact. When I take them to the doctor, I don't have any emergency contact. I don't have friends. I don't have family. I don't have, like, I take care of everything by myself. I don't have that. Okay? So that's one. Imagine me, one person, taking care of 3 children by myself with no support system, not even for an emergency contact. That's one. Second, I was manipulated into having my children. I was 9 months pregnant on my 21st birthday, and their dad was 33. Granted, I knew he was 32. I knew he was 12 years older than me when I met him, or at least, like, in getting to know him, I knew he was 12 years older than me. But at 19 years old, I did not have the mental capacity and understanding to assess and realize that I was being manipulated into having children prior than I wanted to. So it was never my plan to have children at the age of 21. My plan was to finish college and go to law school. And by the time I got my bachelor's degree, my son was 6 months old, and I found myself, like, putting off law school because I didn't want anybody else to raise him. I was manipulated into having those children. Third, which kind of goes with the second one, is one of the ways that this man manipulated me into having these children was using the whole line that, oh my gosh, she's the only person with his last name, and if he dies, the last name's going to go with him. I don't know why that was enough. But then again, I was extremely naive at the time. I was coming from so much abuse, so much trauma. I didn't know up from down, sky to ground, like, whatever. So he was able to use that. And with that being said, I feel like if you want to continue your legacy, if you want to prolong your legacy, then take care of the children. Because over the last however long, this man have not contributed an increment of energy towards the well-being of the boys. Like, no financial support, no physical support, no nothing. But he wanted those children to be able to prolong his legacy. Why would I continue the legacy of a deadbeat? The only, I don't even want to deal with this man. Because right now he is on my phone. He's playing on my phone. I don't even know why he's playing on my phone. Because, like, you have the children. You wanted the children. I took them to you. You have their birth certificate. You have their social. You have them physically. There is no reason why you should be playing on my phone, but you're playing on my phone. Because at the end of the day, it was never about you having the children. It was about you having access to me. It was about you being able to get in contact with me. And I don't have time for that. Because this man is abusive. He's not physically abusive because I beat his ass. I fight back. But he realized early on in the relationship that I had been through a lot, but I wasn't one of those people that went through a lot of stuff and became cold. I went through a lot of stuff and then grew in empathy. So because of that, my ability to empathize have been used as a weapon against me since the time that I met this man. Because one of the ways that he used it in the beginning was to use his mother's death as a way to connect. So I went as far as to even ask, like, because when I say I don't want to deal with this man anymore, like, I've been trying to erase any type of connection that we may have. Of course, I can't erase his children, but anything else I've been trying to erase. I set boundaries. I block him. He find ways to get on my stuff. I, at some point, thought about signing my rights over just so I never had to communicate with this man ever again. And I told the judge that. I told the judge that because I am not going to change who I am for anybody. I am not going to harden my heart because someone like this want to try to weaponize my empathy or want to try to weaponize the fact that I have compassion. So I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to harden. So I will just remove your access. So yeah, no, I don't want them children back.
Like, I love my children. They will never need for anything. But the only way that I will go back to raising my children and in a way that makes sense to me is if one, I never have to interact with this man again. 2, I change the children's last name.
What I'm about to say might sound ridiculous, but I don't care. Why don't more women just give the nigga full custody of the kid? Like, why do y'all sit and argue and try to force a nigga to be a father and send yourself into psychosis and give yourself all this stress and heart problems when you can literally just go down to the courthouse and give him full custody of the kid? Like I don't get it. Like, do you know that you can, like, make another one? I understand, like, oh, you love your kid so much, blah, 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 whatever the fuck. You can make another one. Like, let that nigga keep that one, the one that he's trying to stress you out over. Let him deal with that shit. And you go make another one with another nigga. Like, I don't get it. From the bottom of my heart, I genuinely don't understand why women feel like we have to be the ones to carry the burden of the kid. Like, why do we feel like we have to be the parent to stick around? Why do we feel like it's so heinous of a thing for a woman to say, you know what? I'm not doing this with you. You can keep the kid, take this check every month, and don't call my phone again. Like, why is that so heinous for women, but it's almost expected for men? More women need to just give these niggas full custody of the kid and be done with the situation. Like, I don't understand why that's something women haven't started doing, and I don't understand why it's such a taboo idea. The nigga straight abandons the kid and you just take that on the bunny. You don't drop the kid on his mother's doorstep and change your phone number. Like, I don't get it. It just really does not make any sense to me. Like,
so I just wanted to share with you guys, I'm losing custody of my daughter. She's 9 years old and she is officially going back to school in 14 days. Mama is excited, okay? So from 8:30 to 3:10, I will be kid free. I won't have to do anything. It's gonna be quiet and the teacher's gonna have her back. I will make sure she has breakfast. You make sure she has lunch, okay? That she comes back with all her 10 fingers and 10 toes. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm on countdown back to school.
Are you on countdown?
And there you have it. And as you can see, some mothers are choosing to embrace it. They like, listen, I'm not fighting it. I'm not fighting it, especially mothers that had sole custody of the child for the longest time. And they like, you know what? Let me give you a shot. Let me be the fun weekend mom. Let me travel the world and just write you a check at every month because that's the easiest part of parenting anyway. You go ahead and do the hard part, right? So, and I think it's quite refreshing, to be quite honest. It's quite refreshing. The kids will grow up, especially if you know that the kids are going to be in a safe environment, right? I will tell you, in South Africa, I think it happens in Africa, there's actually an interesting practice where if you are a single mother, you have a child and you're still living at home, should it happen that you meet someone, get engaged, get married, and you are off to go start a family, in most cases, I don't know if it still happens as much, in most cases, the woman would actually leave her children at home, the children that she had outside of this marriage at home. Right? So that's again, I guess a way, a version of voluntarily giving up custody of your children. But obviously in this case, you are giving them up into the care of their grandparents, of family, of loved ones, and they're safe and and sound. So these things happen. I will say I also do want to give respect to mothers that give up custody of their children because they just know that they are not capable of taking care of them, whether be it because they are not well mentally, or they have certain habits that just are not conducive, or the home that they live in, their lifestyle is not conducive to the raising of a child, right? In those cases, I think that move is kind of commendable. We could question the morality of why have children if you know that you are not going to make the necessary sacrifices and create a clean and safe environment for them to grow in. But I guess when you're already an addict, there's no need for us to do that debate. There's no point because it is what it is. So in those choices, if anything, they're making the mature decision to center their children and make decisions that are good for them. I actually used to have a colleague who spoke about how both her parents, first her father was an addict. Her mother then became an addict, trying to keep her father at home, and she ended up having the responsibility of raising her siblings and being the adult in the home at the age of 10, And she's like, it was unbearable. I would have rather they gave us up, so I didn't have to shoulder all that burden. So it's a tricky, it's a complex discussion, and I guess you make the decision that you think is right at that time. Anyway, thank you for being here. In the comments below, please do share your experiences, share your thoughts. What do you think? What do you think of this of this trend that we are seeing? Again, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We are building a community, and I would just absolutely love it if you were a part of it. See you on the next one.